Hi, yes, I'm Karen. So I'm here today to talk about my experiences in the Caledon Centre. So I was sectioned at the end of last year, and I've had previous sections as well, mostly at the Caledon and once in Warwick. But yeah, other than that, generally my mental health's really good. I work as an occupational therapist. I'd had basically a really tough year. Became unwell at the end of the year. Knew myself that I needed to get sectioned. I was just, really struggling. And I ended up in A&E, which was quite traumatic because I was there for about 2 days. Which sort of escalated things really. So by the time I got into Swanswell, I was very much sort of in fight or flight mode, and I was experiencing psychosis. But I do remember coming onto the ward, and initially 2 of the patients came and basically welcomed me onto the ward. Unfortunately, I wasn't really in the right space to sort of take that on board properly, but I do appreciate, they really made an effort, and they were making an effort to make people feel welcomed. I struggled on Swanswell a bit with the rules weren't that clear to me, so and I think you need that sort of clarity. I felt that a lot of staff weren't approachable. It felt like people were sort of talking in little groups, or they were in the office, and it wasn't just me, but quite a lot of people were getting the experience of having sort of like the door slammed in your face, or just people walking past you and ignoring you, or trying to pass you on to somebody else. I think to feel safe and relaxed, it's like that consistency and being seen and heard, and just feeling that your basic needs are getting met. And initially I wasn't feeling that, in the sense that it was things like just getting some water for me. I drink quite a lot of water, and it was just being able to get a glass of water that felt like such a big thing, or like a cup of herbal tea and stuff, because it felt like such a struggle to sort of engage somebody. You do sort of feel a little bit like a caged animal, especially at the beginning of a section when you are on really high observations and you can't just go outside. And for me, I'm really active, and it's one of my ways of just feeling calm and in a good space. So yeah, when you're sort of like being watched and you can't go out, it's just like, it's really hard to sort of, it's difficult to relax. I think a big issue for me is that I'm vegan, and it took a really long time to try and get that across. So people were bringing me in food, and that was a real lifeline for me. So being able to see people get like vegan food and have water being brought in was really helpful. But yeah, I did have that lifeline, and I was able to communicate to people outside, like on the phone and stuff like that. I think for some people they just didn't have any of that, and so again, communication is so important, because if people aren't being seen. But I do want to say that there were some really lovely staff. I'm not saying that all the staff were bad, and obviously it wasn't abusive or anything like that. I think it was just the culture of not engaging with the patients so much, and then there was 1 or 2 staff that you knew, oh, they're on shift, I can go to them. That's what it felt like.
I welcome Karen's feedback, because we are always trying to, improve on what we are doing. And firstly, I would like to apologize that her experience wasn't what she expected of the ward and what it should have been, So I accept that. It's about improving patient experience on the ward. and any feedback is very helpful. We try and make it work as much as possible, and we strive to improve it as we go on. So few things that Karen mentioned out of those. So availability of staff and staff responsiveness. So from that, we have now I've worked with staff in staff meetings, addressed those issues, and staff do not stay in the office, they don't congregate in the office. That's been addressed, and there is also clear guidance outside on the whiteboard. It clearly displays who is available on the ward, so people know who to expect, who to approach at the times of need. Also, there is staff allocation that is displayed outside on the board for transparency, and also for patients to know who has been allocated to them. Also about clarity about the roles. There is this display board on the in the corridor where it displays about all the staff roles, what their roles are, and when we have any agency or anyone come to work on the ward, they're expected to wear badges to clearly display what their role is. In terms of meaningful activity, we have OT and we have activity coordinator who work on the ward closely with patients. So an activity table is devised by looking at what patient mix do we have on the ward within a given time period, and also looking at their interests. So it is constantly changing and evolving. We have invested into, making our activity room a bit more conducive for people to, access it. We are also looking at making it more inviting. We are investing in a projector for having movie nights for patients, and also more age appropriate, arts and stuff. Also with dietary needs, prior to getting feedback, I actually noted that, and I had already implemented something on the ward in the dining area, as well as in the menu display board. I have put a note on, if you have got any dietary requirements, please contact staff to let us know. I think sometimes it is not always clear in initial meeting, or where things might get delayed if it is not communicated to us. That journey from when Karen was here to now, we have implemented things to make patient experience better, and we'll continue to improve that.